Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's JJ McCormick with Yavapai College Marketing here at the Chino Valley
Okay.
Agribusiness
Thank you
Center
guys
where we
for
are doing our
playing
absolutely very
along.
first live stream on YouTube. Thanks for joining
Okay,
us if you're
Rich.
here. Just to let you know what's going to happen during our live stream,
Oh wait, take this one.
we are
I
going to
made a
be
note on this
listening
one.
in on Professor Justin Brereton's spring horticulture class. We're going to go listen in for a few. Then we're going to follow some of his students around and ask them some questions about things that they're
Okay, can
learning,
you guys hear me
what
pretty
they
good?
love about this class, things like that.
Okay, who
And
we
then
got?
after a
2, 4,
while, probably
5,
about
6,
20 or
7,
30 minutes
8,
or so, maybe sooner,
9, 10.
we're going to be doing a Q&A with Professor
So a
Brereton
couple
and
things I
with his
wanted to talk
assistant,
about. Your
Rich
guys' final
Peterson.
projects.
And we
Looks
have
like
some questions
they're
that we've
going
received in
well. You
advance.
still got
We've got
2
some questions
weeks
ready, but we're
and
also
3 days,
inviting you to share or
for the
to ask
sale,
questions
but for
live
the,
if you have any.
for the
Send them our
evaluation,
way
it's 2
on
weeks from
YouTube.
today.
Throw them in the
It gets
comments, and we will get
evaluated
to your
in
questions
class.
hopefully during the Q&A. Again, thanks for joining us. I just want to give a shout out to our content creation team composed
So
of
your
student marketers
advertisement,
and
so you have your flat, but then you're
employees with the
going to
Yavapai College
showcase it
Marketing
with
team.
a
We've
sort of
got
an
Lydia
advertisement.
here,
I'm leaving
we've
it
got
very
Sarah, and we've got
open for you
Megan.
guys to
Thanks for being here,
do what you
guys,
want,
and
whether it's a flyer, whether it's
viewers, thanks for being
information,
here too,
but just
and we
think
hope
about
you
your
enjoy
audience. Your
our
audience is
chance
somebody who
to
would be
learn
buying
about Yavapai
your
College's
stuff.
horticulture program and about, of course,
So
I
you
know
guys
this
all
is
know
probably what
about the
everyone's excited
advertisement you need
about
to
is the
do for
spring
your
plant
flat.
sale
Okay.
that's
It's
happening
important,
on
and
May
we've been
10th. And we're going to
busy.
get more information from Justin about that here
Okay.
in a few. But first, let's go listen in
That's
on
May
what he's
7th.
telling his class.
That's in 2 weeks. Okay. Again, you can take your final project flat home, or you can share it with others. If you keep it here, it goes in the sale. Only keep it here if it's one of our standard pots that we're already growing in. You guys good with that? Okay, you guys can come on in, come around to the side so we can see you. Okay, another thing, we've been talking about salsa for a long time. Now it's actually happening. 2 weeks from tonight, we'll have salsa in class, and so be eyeballing your special ingredients. We'll come in early, we'll pick a bunch of stuff ahead of time. That way we can combine what needs to be marketed and what can be left for us, because remember this stuff is going out as well. So come a little early on that night and we'll get our salsa squared away. Tagging. Rich, you got an update on the tagging machine?
Up and running with a little help from IT and ready for inventory. That'll be one of our upcoming tasks is probably a couple of students and calling on Justin as we need to develop an inventory. And we have categories of plants where we'll call them vegetables, and then we have a specific format for listing them out so that it can be transferred easily into the Excel database format, and that way we can easily print tags. So you'll get the hang of it. It's not that difficult. It's just if things are unlabeled or poorly labeled or illegible, that's where the problems come in. Or you can't identify a plant, or it doesn't have a tag. What is this? You can ask.
This is a great example. Tonight we're planting all those tomatoes. Just whoever is writing, have their writing be better than mine. I just wrote, this variety is a super bush tomato. I put it on a big tag. That whole tray is going to be super bush tomato, but we don't need to write that many tags. We just need to write one tag, and then we'll use the printing machine to print 4,000 or more tags that'll be in here. So as you write the next couple weeks, write it super legibly or find somebody who can do that. I had put the sign-up sheets so that we can have our own specific area for the plant sale. Those are in the front. So look at those areas, think about that. It's twofold. It's signing up because you guys will all be there, but it's getting an area where you can focus on. I don't care if you want to switch with each other and see how the other half lives at a different table or a different sales thing, but some of you guys really identified with a specific crop that you would be best at selling to the public. Secondly, that week leading up to it, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll have afternoon time slots for additional help. The more we get done in class, the more we get done leading to the sale, makes the sale a lot more chill for us, okay? Otherwise, it's a panic and we're throwing stuff out there. So help us. We can usually get set up the night before if the weather holds out. You guys that helped plant the lilies, you saw the discrepancy in the sizes. Those are the same varieties, just different colors. So I reached out to the person who provided the bulbs for us and just asked about that discrepancy, because what I think happened is the tall bulbs, I think that's just natural growth. If you look at the top of them, one's not a dwarf and one's a tall variety. They're the same varieties. It's just some are approaching 18 inches tall and some are approaching 4 inches tall. This is the epitome of what I've told you about sizing and getting ready for marketing at a sale. So I reached out to the supplier and just said, did you dip those bulbs in a growth regulator? Did you dip just some of them? Were some of them stored cold, some of them stored warm? Something is different between those two varieties. And when they're in pots together, they look weird. When they're in pots next to each other, if you get an orange one and it's this tall and you get a red one, it's this tall, both of those heights are bad because this tall is heading for this tall. We talked about why that's bad. This tall is heading for this tall, and then people don't feel like they're getting a value in that. And so we have some options with how to control the height, but we can't slow some down and speed some up in the same pot next to each other. So it's exactly what we were talking about. We'll see how it pans out. We'll try and use some techniques to get those going, but I just wanted to make sure you guys knew about that. Did you want to mention the tomato maintenance? I saw row 1 and 2 are like getting away from us again.
Yeah, maintaining tomato plants cannot be just the hour before class once a week. It's the type of thing that takes multiple hours during the week in order to keep up with them. I try and keep up with them, but there's a lot of demands on my time in here. And I go over there and look, they're out of control and they're suckers. I saw one that had gotten so unsupported that it's just flopped down now, and that's just a sign of just not being maintained, just not being looked after. So as much as you can, come in whenever you can, look at that tomato plants. Are there any unsupported, meaning 18 to 24 inches up past the wire means that they now have to be, at a minimum, clipped up so they don't just fall over and potentially break off, that type of thing.
And an update on, this was a big day for us because it was our biggest harvest. What did we get on tomatoes this morning?
208 pounds of tomatoes, which may be as much as we've ever done. And they were nice big ones. There's even a couple of sacks of golf ball size ones that we didn't send to market. So it was 208 plus. And that's just a sign of the higher sun, more lumens coming into the greenhouse, and mature plants, and they're just ready to go. They're getting all the nutrients that they want, so we should probably expect anything in that 150 to 200 pounds every week now. And it takes an hour and a half or 2 hours to harvest them and then bring them in here, give them a sanitizing wash, and then pack them. For example, Essence only wants large tomatoes, sandwich size tomatoes, big ones. Whereas the eatery, they'll take big ones, but they take small ones and reduce them down to sauce of some sort for freezing and for later use. So in any case, we have a lot of tomatoes, a good sign that the plants are ready to go.
And after the semester ends, in between summer class and spring class ending, I bet the team would like some help on Wednesday. So you guys, if you want to bank some hours for summer, those of you that are going to be with us again, talk to us about needing some help on harvesting. That 200 pounds doesn't come off real easy. It takes a lot of effort.
It takes some experience, and not picking just any tomato, picking the ones that are red ripe, not orange ripe, and et cetera, et cetera. On the flip side, I don't know if you may, when you go into the hydro bay, notice that the ebb and flood table is empty now. We had this Pythium root disease. It's a fungal disease this week. It just shows up, but it happens practically overnight, where all the plants, they're standing in water, but they all look like they have dried up, like they haven't been watered for a week. And it's not uncommon for hydroponically grown plants. We get it with our poinsettia crop in the fall occasionally because they're standing on a wet cap mat and the temperatures are cool. It can happen to other crops too, but our basil crop is in the dumpster now because there's no recovering from Pythium. It's just, if you got it, you've got to get rid of it, sanitize everything. So we're in the process of sanitizing the table, sanitizing the stock tank. Anything where Pythium that is now in the water supply, anything that water has touched has to be sanitized so we don't reintroduce it to the new crop that we put in.
Cool. So this evening, since we're showcasing what we're doing to more than just us, we're showcasing to the public, hi everyone out there, we want to stay kind of close this evening. I've had the first starting tasks be focused back here within the greenhouse and these two bays. Those of you that were looking forward to some outside projects, I know somebody was looking forward to weed eating. That's awesome. We'll do that after they wrap up this event. We'll spread out to the outside. But just to get us organized a little bit, Rich has a lab there. I have a lab that I'll put on the clipboard to move on to the next tasks. Like always, you guys are in week 14, and so we're repeating some of these opportunities. Look for those opportunities where you haven't had a lot of experience. Saddle up next to somebody who has had some experience. We need people in the tomato bay. We need the lettuce moved over, seeded, and the whole process with the NFT system. The microgreens need to be seeded. Are we doing 4 gutters still? Seeds?
We may do 6 tonight. We
Okay.
pretty much cleared everything off to start over.
Okay.
And so we'll do 6 gutters.
6 gutters tonight. Seeds are already out. Things are kind of set up back here. One of the main tasks for tonight, like I was mentioning with the tomatoes, you guys seeded those tomatoes. They're coming up really good. We move forward with sets of 15. So take this super bush, for instance, pick 15 really nice ones. If you still have another 15, make another tray. If you only have 12 or less, don't move forward with that variety. Move on to the next one. Just very carefully write the new tag, but leave a tag for the plants that are left over. We may still need those, but then when you're selecting these, you can see not all of these are equal. They didn't have all the same conditions and opportunity. These here were a little bit dried out. So I can see 15 good ones here and 15 good ones here. You don't have to pick out all the biggest ones, just pick an average 15, an average 15, and then you're like, I got 2 trays, move forward. I just walked through what we did. Our quota is pretty good. I said 15, 15, 15. I eyeballed it. It looked like we're easily at 20 flats, and that was without any stretch. Our quota was between 20 and 24, so we should be good with that. I need some real detail-oriented people to let gravity assist. Pop these from the bottom, give them a squeeze in the plug, let them slide out. If we tumble these apart, tomatoes are really tough. We could throw this on the ground, pick the plants up and plant them. But since we're at a 2 week to root out and grow 6 to 8 inches, we want every bit of this plant to be like seamless transplanting from there to the next pot and move on to the final size. If we do that real good and carefully, it'll be good. If you're next to somebody who's tearing them apart, say, hey, try this, or try a different technique, or let gravity assist you slightly when you're pushing it out, okay? Teamwork on that. The other main task for tonight is we're on to 4-inch veggies. I put the seeds out here. There's a quota list from what we've grown before in the past. This represents pumpkins of different sizes, winter squashes, summer squashes, green, yellows, crooknecks, not crooknecks, acorn squashes, butternut spaghetti. There's a couple of trays of each on here. This with the varieties already selected here. So go ahead, we're gonna put 2 seeds in a pot, more towards the middle, not towards the edge, except for the sunflowers. We're gonna do some sunflowers. A student convinced me last year with their final project. These won't be blooming sunflowers, obviously, but they'll be nice transplants. We're gonna put 4 seeds in a pot, and these are the really, really giant ones, specialty Titan heirloom sunflowers, so that'll be cool. So tomatoes, we got some tying up of plants. I took one of the sweet potato vines that was spilling out all over, and I put 2 little sticks in it. I think the sticks are right here. With some stretchy green tape and went around it. 1 week later, it's climbing the stick and it looks awesome. People will really appreciate that. That's like a value added thing that we can do for the plant sale, and just making people happy and seeing how that plant grows. So there's organizing. We're going to be moving plants. We're going to take some Q&A. They may be asking us questions about what you like about the class, why you're studying horticulture, that kind of thing. So we ready, team? Questions, you guys? Okay. We'll reconvene after that's over. We'll reconvene and see where we stand with the projects. But jump on a project. I'm not going to divide you out. Find a place. Additionally, Rich is going to be doing nutrition. I said what I was going to be doing. Rich is going to be helping people with nutrition in the tanks and also grafting. So again, if you only had limited grafting opportunities, this is the last week in the spring class that we're going to graft. And look at those. These are the rooted ones that we grew from seeds. That's last year, grown in the field, dug and planted, and now they're ready for you guys to graft. Make them that kind of apples they always wanted to be. Okay?
These are all paradise.
These are all paradise, yes. And they will all become
Black twig
Okay.
apple.
black twig apple. That sounds
It's a heirloom.
okay.
Rare.
Special.
Very rare and special.
Super special. Okay, you guys ready? All right, let's get it done.
We've got 6 trees and 3 stations, so
Okay,
find
so
3 people.
what we're going to do is we're going to go follow some students around and talk to them. And while we're on our way to find students to talk to, I thought it'd be fun to show you just some of the plants here that are amazing. So we'll just kind of walk through here, walk through, and go ahead. Let's get it done, right, Justin?
I like to say let's get it
I know,
done.
I know you do.
Who wants to do tomatoes?
I'm pretty sure that
Okay.
most of these
I
plants
mean,
are going to be
these
available
tomatoes.
at the plant sale, but I'm not positive. But
Yeah.
we'll ask Justin that during the Q&A. And
Yes.
do you guys want to go in and
Yeah,
see the
once
tomatoes?
you
And hopefully
finish one,
a
set the
a
seed
student
off
or
to the
or
side
two
or
will be in there
cross off
soon,
on that
and we can
list.
talk to them. But you got to see these tomatoes. They're amazing. And Justin just,
somebody
as he
filling
just said, and Rich
tomatoes?
said, they
So all we
harvested
have to do with
208
this-
pounds
so I
this
had
week.
one tray
And
that
those
already had
tomatoes
one
went
tomato in
to
it.
the eatery at the
Okay,
Prescott
got it.
campus, but also at the Essence Kitchen and Bar here in Chino Valley. So if you love tomatoes, that's a good place to
Oh, gotcha.
go
Is it the
give them a
nasturtium?
taste. So anyway, we'll go into the tomato bay. The infamous tomato bay. Look at these tomatoes, you guys. Oh, they're amazing. This is a hydroponic system, and hopefully we'll get a student or someone in here that can tell us more about how they're grown. But they harvested 208 pounds this week, and look how many are still growing and looking amazing. Check them out. I see some abandoned tomatoes. Maybe I'll get to take those home. I'm hoping anyway. So there's no one in here yet to talk to. So let's see if we can go back and grab somebody and drag them in here with us. Hold on.
But it makes a piece like that that's going to fit inside of a matching.
We're just doing a workshop on grafting.
Let's cut this piece off. Pretend that's the fine one. Now we're going to pretend this is the rootstock, this part. And I'm just doing this as demo. And here again, you have to think what kind of a cut is this going to look like. You want it to be not
Okay. So let's see if we can talk to these guys. Hey, you guys.
You're doing a better job than I did.
Can we talk to you while you're working?
Sure.
Okay. We are with marketing, like we said, and we're just trying to show everybody what an amazing place this is. But we wanted to talk to a couple students and ask them why you started taking, or why you took this particular class. Do you mind responding?
I took the class more for personal reasons, just so I could learn how to grow my own garden and be better at my own gardening.
And have you learned a lot? Are you a better gardener?
Yeah, I'm a lot more confident in what I'm doing in my own garden. So yeah, I think the class is and it's fun. It's been a lot of fun.
What's something that you've learned in this class that you didn't know before that maybe surprised you?
I guess I'd have to say that the tomatoes that he talks about all the time, and cutting the suckers off the tomatoes and maintaining those. I never did that with my own, so I think it works really well. It's stuff I never knew before.
Okay, and tell us a little bit again about, I know Justin kind of explained what you guys were doing, but would you mind just sharing with us what you're up to right now?
Right now, we're taking these little small tomatoes that we have, and we are putting them into 4-inch pots, which is what they're going to end up. This is the end spot for them for the plant sale.
So these tomatoes, little tomatoes, are going to be available for people to buy at the
Yes.
plant sale.
Yes, they are. And hopefully they should be considerably bigger than this.
In 2 weeks? Well,
Yes.
I was just here. We were just here last
Yes.
week, and everything seems like it's grown a lot just in 1 week.
It has. It's amazing what, in the good conditions, how quickly everything grows. I mean, if you look at your own final projects over there, week by week, it's pretty amazing what they look like. So yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you. And tell us your name.
Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks. I'm gonna sneak over here. Do you guys mind if I bug you too and ask you maybe a couple of the same questions?
Yeah.
The question being, why did you take this class, or why did you take this class in particular, spring horticulture, I believe it is?
So this class counts to my final degree in technology management and in the animal care certificate. So I'm taking this class so I can benefit, my capabilities of just an all-around learning about agriculture. So
Are you graduating this semester?
I'm graduating in the fall.
Okay. And what's something that you have learned that maybe you've taken home with you or shared with other people, something that maybe surprised you about growing things?
So I think the biggest thing I've learned, my mom is mostly into the planting and the horticulture side of things at our place. The grafting on the apples and everything, and we did the grapes as well. That's been something that's been really cool, mostly because I didn't even know that was a thing that you could do with transplanting and all that, and grafting 2 different types of apples together.
And you've done that at home?
I have not done that here. I've done that, not at my house, but here, just across the table, which they're doing right now.
But maybe you will do it at home someday.
Yeah, I think that would be definitely cool. We could do to our own.
And tell me your name.
Kiana.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And can I ask you a question as well, or a question or two? What do you love about this class?
What I love about this class is just the array of different things you learn. There's a bunch of techniques that he teaches you that are really cool. You learn a lot about nutrients and how to propagate and just overall how to take care of plants, which I was not good at all, especially with outside plants, but it helps a lot, and I really just think it's good to know for the future and the state of the world.
So you're taking the class for your personal reasons too, for fun, or are you pursuing a degree?
I'm pursuing the agricultural technology degree. I'm more into the animal side. I'm actually volunteering at Heritage Park Zoo right now, but I really think that the plant side of things is really important to keep between plants and animals because it feeds them, the animals give them nutrition. It all goes hand in hand.
True. And so are you also going to grow some things on your own at home?
Oh, of course. I think it's really cool to grow some things at your own house. And if I have my own farm or something like that, I'll grow plants that I can feed to the animals.
There you go. There you go. And tell me your name.
Alexis.
Alexis. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. All right. Are there over here? Did you guys want to go? Did you want to go back to the tomatoes? Okay. We went to the tomato bay because we love it, but there's nobody over there to talk to about it. Do you want to talk to us about it? Do you have time? Or do you?
Nick is over there now.
Oh, he is?
and
Okay.
Nick is really fun.
Okay.
I'll take you to
Okay.
him.
Okay.
Did my volume go on now? Am I good?
You gotta hold on the button.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I haven't been doing that at all.
No, you're good.
Okay.
It's not, that's just to turn it
Oh, okay.
Nick, are you in here? Nick, you want to do a student perspective? Since you're amazingly doing stuff in here, they want to see
We
you.
really want to talk to somebody about
They
tomatoes.
don't want me, they want you.
Is that all right? Okay, yeah, that's fine. Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you, Justin. So, thank you so much. And your name is Nick, right?
Nick, yes.
Nick, and Nick, tell us what you took this class for and what you're hoping to do with the things that you learn here in this class.
So I'm in agricultural technology management. This is my second semester in horticulture. Justin's amazing. I'm already a master gardener through U of A, so agriculture is pretty much my whole life. My career is in agriculture as well. So I'm just looking to extend my knowledge, extend everything I do, and better everything I do, basically.
Okay, and so you said your career is in agriculture. Can you tell us what you do?
So I'm an agricultural manager of a private ranch and farm outside of Prescott.
Okay, so you're here a couple days a week to upskill, to improve, like you said, enhance your knowledge and skills.
Yes. For my career, for my personal life, there's so many unique personalities here, so many people to learn from. It's a great place.
And tell us about these tomatoes. I know it's a hydroponic system, and it's just every time I come here, I'm amazed. I'm just amazed. And look at all those blooms still. And they said they harvested 208 pounds this week, and there's still so many going.
Yeah, so they're doing very well this semester. Rich is doing an amazing job at keeping them so healthy. So what I'm doing right now is basically taking off what we call suckers. As the tomato vine grows, in between the branches right here, you can see where we already cut one out. There's some growth that'll come out right here. It's called a sucker. If you don't cut that off, then the whole plant will bush out instead of growing vertical and staying a smaller size, so you can grow more plants within a smaller space. So that's basically what I'm doing, is just thinning out all the suckers, taking off any that possibly popped up because they come out so fast in a hydro system. And then I can see we have a little bit of white flies here, so later on somebody will come along and spray an organic pesticide on these to just get these little bugs off, which are not really harmful in the long run.
And this, because it's a hydroponic system, do you need to treat your home tomato plants the same way, like cut off suckers like you're doing here?
So it depends on what you're going for. If you're trying to pack more varieties into a single space, a smaller space, you'd want to utilize this method, which you could look up square foot gardening online, and that's basically what this is all about. Keeping the plants a manageable size so you can have more varieties in a smaller space. So yeah, you can absolutely adopt that method at home, or you can just let them bush out depending on what you want to do. If you don't want to take the time to do all that, or you don't have the time, you could just let them grow however they grow.
And do you get to take tomatoes home?
Do I get to? Sure. I don't eat a lot of them personally, but if I wanted them, yes.
Because I've seen some down here, and I'm like, oh, Maybe
They're
I get to take
beautiful.
some home.
Yeah, they're beautiful. The fruit are beautiful on these plants.
And what kind of tomatoes are they? Are they all the same, or are they
Beefsteak.
different?
Beefsteak, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know-
Marketable, it's what the customers seem to request the most, from my understanding. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and as far as I know the eatery at the Prescott campus uses these tomatoes, and a restaurant here in Chino, Essence. And do you know of any other places where is there a place where people can actually buy the tomatoes? Do you know?
That I don't know. Justin would be able to tell you. I'm not sure, honestly, on that.
Okay. All right. And so, are you going to be working in here for a while? Like, how long? I mean, what is your
Probably all night.
really? This is your hang.
Well, there's so much to take off because the plants grow so fast. And as I go through, I'm sure I'll find suckers that are already like a foot long, some like a foot and a half long because they grow so fast.
Can you show us like one that you're gonna attack?
Yeah, a lot of them are on the newer upper growth. Depends on if Rich already took a lot of it out himself. Okay, here we go. Right here, that's a sucker right there.
Oh, it's growing straight up.
Yeah, so we'll
okay.
just cut those off, and it basically prevents the plant from just growing out. There's another one right here.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all just new growth that probably grew in 1 week.
And did you learn about this? Learn about that in this class? Learn how to do all of this in this class?
No, actually, no. I learned that long ago, but it's it's a passion of mine. So I've been into gardening all my life, pretty much.
And this is something I'm going to ask Rich and Justin during the Q&A session. But what things do you like to garden yourself, and why? Or what things do you like to plant, and why?
So I stay away from ornamentals. For me, it's a waste of time. I try and grow just as nutritious, as just very nutritious vegetables, all organic. I actually don't grow with chemicals whatsoever. I raise worms like we have over here. We have a worm bin over here. So I raise worms at home, and I utilize their castings as an organic fertilizer for all my plants. And I grow everything from from kale to sunflowers to tomatoes, all the standard varieties most people grow, I guess. I'd like to grow corn, heirloom corn, and things like that, but I need a lot more land for that, of course.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I know that a lot of people are definitely interested in growing things that they eat, and not just growing things to grow things, but to grow things to eat and to harvest to your table.
Yes, definitely. It just seems like it's a win-win. Everything you're growing is not only beautiful, but it tastes good. So, you can take advantage of that.
True. Very true. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Nice meeting you guys.
We'll probably see you again.
Okay.
Oh, do you want to go look at the worms? I think we should look at the worms. Do you mind if we look at the worms really quick?
No, not at all.
Just lift up this lid over here.
I can show you.
Oh, great. Okay. Oh, wow. The worms get to eat the leftovers, or the food that you don't take to market.
Yes. Yeah, so they'll eat all the food right here, everything we give them. As the castings and everything, all the food's broken down, and the worms process everything, we just raise these trays right here, and there's screens underneath. And as you can see, this is the finished castings right here. So all this right here is loaded with worms, worm cocoons, beneficial microorganisms for the soil. You can make compost teas out of this by adding it to dechlorinated water, putting a fish aquarium air stone in there, bubbling it for 24 hours, and there's a lot of videos on that online. But yeah, this is a powerhouse right here for soil in general. But if you give it to your plants will respond pretty quickly with something like this.
It looks pretty amazing. The soil looks amazing.
Yeah.
Looks very
Yeah,
rich.
it's all the worms there.
All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Here we go. Go backwards, you guys. Okay. You doing all right? Okay. I noticed that there's some beautiful peppers here too on this side. All different. It looks like all different kinds of peppers. All right. looks like a, what does that look like? A zucchini. It looks like a zucchini, right? Down here? I think. I'm pretty sure. It's definitely getting me excited for spring planting. Okay, we're going to go into the third greenhouse where there's lots of hanging stuff, lots of more aquaponics going on. But there is not anyone in here. So we might have to go back and see if we can grab somebody to come and tell us about what we're seeing here. But look at this beautiful basil. Oh, look at that. They're beautiful. Okay, I'm going back in here. Oh, feels good. What are you doing, Justin?
So last fall, we did a plant manipulation project where they made their own bonsai trees. This is Tyler's, he's in this class, but he's getting bumped now because we're making room for other projects. So this is going, I'm taking the liberty to move my student's plant to a different table.
Oh, gotcha.
He was hiding it in that corner, but
So he doesn't get to, he's not taking it home. He just,
he could, but he said he didn't want to. He wanted to leave it here.
Oh.
So now I'll just move it around on him and make him confused. But this is arborvitae that he wanted to wire and train, and then a lot of students put this moss on it for desirable look. It was a fun project, but
it's really pretty. And green,
Yeah.
definitely.
so I'm moving this out of the way. We just have to make space because we're on overflow and we're trying to use all the space wisely.
Yeah, I remember you telling me at one point that the plan, the long-term plan is to build more greenhouses, right? At some point, maybe.
I love
maybe.
that, but it's taking everything that Rich and I have to maintain this and extend this facility. So if there's more personnel involved, I'm totally excited about that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe someday, right? A dream.
It could always be a dream.
Gotcha.
And we're a college that can move quickly. I like that. Yeah. I'm gonna take this.
Okay.
Oh, you needed to get in there. See some of the other. 2 per 1. These are just some others. A rosemary, another arborvitae that he did it in a different style. But yeah, we're trying to keep people excited and letting them grow random things without it consuming all of the table space planned for. Because when we design this sale, we use every square inch available, thus the overhead plantings and everything.
Right.
So
And I know because I saw some avocados over there, and that's something I would love to grow, but it's hard to grow unless you have a greenhouse, right?
right.
Yeah.
On the side of this greenhouse, there's 15 or 20 avocados there that are approaching a year old. The ones on the table are just 3 months or so old.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
we accumulate stuff and it's fun, but they need to find their own space. And if it can't go out into the outside environment, then we're at a pickle. We just can't keep it in here forever. An avocado wants to grow huge, but people who want to put them on a patio and then bring it in the winter, or in a Arizona room or a sunroom or something, that'd be a cool, like a house plant that could go out part of the year.
That would count me in for maybe searching for the avocados on plant sale day.
Yeah, there will be some there because we got to move them.
Okay.
We just want to make sure people don't go put them in the full sun in the middle of their yard and say, "Why did my avocado die?" It's not San Diego.
Right. Well, and so all of these plants that are going to be available at the plant sale, which we're going to talk about more, but they were all most of them were student grown anywhere, or some of them, most of them.
This is all student
All
grown.
student grown.
And most of it was done within the semester. Some of the older things were started previous semesters. Like if we talk about these grafted apples they're doing, those were plant biology class learned about stratification. They seeded those. They grew for a year with the horticulture class, and then we dug those and they're grafting them. So I say we, the horticulture students, did that. And so that's a a multi-year process. We take these once they're grafted, once they start to sprout out, we grow them outside. The summer class puts them into a 3-gallon pot. Then instead of taking them to the public as a tiny little susceptible plant, they're tough plants. They just need to be in a bigger pot. They need to be hardened off. And so we'll grow those all summer, winter them. If they're big enough, we'll do them at the fall sale. If not, they'll be the next spring.
Okay.
And we have a bunch of ones. So they're 2 years old, but from a seedling or a cutting, they're 3 years old. So we've been nurturing them for multiple classes.
Gotcha. So once all of this stuff is sold, which it will be, or most, I know everything sells out during the plant sale. What happens then? Does the summer class come in and start
Class?
planting everything anew?
Yeah, it's a new year. They start planting perennials. We focus a lot in the summer on the outside crops because we'll grow the pumpkin patch and the corn maze and care for all the things outside. But we still continue the tomatoes and the production that's going out to be marketed. And so the projects that continue in here are part of the strategic plan and the personal interest of the students.
Gotcha.
We're more forgiving with table space at fall and summer. The spring is like, what's the importance of this? And then it needs to find a home. If it's not for the sale, it needs to go with our houseplants. And in the main campus, in the main building, we have a ton of
Right.
houseplants.
And so that's where some of those started, was here, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they started here. This was we're testing out if we could grow amaryllis in the fall. This one's confused. It's blooming here in the spring, and they're supposed to bloom in December, January. I think that one's re-blooming.
It's
But it looks
beautiful.
I mean, it looks totally beautiful. But and they make a really good houseplant. But we were testing different pot sizes, and clearly this didn't fill out in time. But like a year from now, this would be awesome. But this is why it ends up in the hallway. And some of them get put in different pots. So there's a decorative pot on this one. And this one we put 5 bulbs. So we did 5 bulbs in this one, and we did 2 bulbs in here. And so you can see this would almost be something that somebody would be interested in. This is attractive and full. And when it makes those blooms, people would go nuts over this. However, the seasonality is a little weird right now. So this becomes a house plant for us.
Inside the main building plant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going on a cart to go there, like go visiting. And it's tricky when we have stuff out here, the environment's perfect. The hall is even. It's got good sun intensity, but in the summer when the sun angle isn't as good, it's actually a hard growing space. So we just put stuff there for a while and say, we're sorry, you're in timeout, and then we bring them back into the greenhouse to grow a little bit better.
Cool. All right. Well, are we at a point where we can do a Q&A with you and Rich?
I think so. Are we going to throw you off if we go over there?
No? Well,
Okay, that's maybe not right.
yeah,
with the
yeah,
pesticide.
yeah, flammable. Pesticide flammable.
Let me
Okay.
do this.
Okay. Do you want me to move some chairs for you? Oh, okay. So this where you're gonna sit right here, like right in front of these guys? Okay, that works. Does this? Cool. Okay. That is fantastic. I love it. All right. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth with Rich in case Rich answers any questions, and then I can give him my microphone. So Rich, we're ready for the Q&A if you don't mind coming over. Oh,
Did it go on? Did it go on? Am I on? Okay.
you're on. You're
Okay.
on. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for Rich, we can ask you a couple questions. Sure. Go ahead and have a seat. Is that good? Are you guys good with that?
We're just wondering if you could sit.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Okay. Yep. So here, let me. Okay, we're just going to
Want
set
me
up
to
the camera
scooch
while we're
that way
getting
a
ready for the
little bit?
Q&A. Is that good? Okay. That looks great. That looks awesome. Okay.
I'm gonna relax so my students
Oh, I
can look
think you
at me and be
should.
like,
I think you should. I think it's a great
this is
idea.
how he teaches class all the time.
Okay, my first question, the weather is getting fine, right? People are jonesing to get out and start planting. Is now okay, or is the advice that we always hear in our area, at least me, a long time where I've heard this, since I first moved here, wait until after Mother's Day. So what is right and true for this area? And maybe I know other parts of Yavapai County are probably different.
Yeah, totally. And we may be speaking to people who are in places where they're not sure what we're talking about. Most of the high elevation, middle elevation areas of Arizona, it's too early for warm season growing, but cool season growing, we're in the midst of that. And so I don't want, yes, it's too early to put out tomatoes and peppers and squashes and corn for most areas of northern Arizona or even in the mountains of southern Arizona. But it's not too early to be planting lettuce, root crops. Potatoes can go in the ground, onions, all your leafy greens, cauliflower, broccoli from starts. And so I don't like when people miss a whole season of growing, but it is a odd season of growing where we have extreme warmth and we still have extreme cold. We aren't to the 50% chance of frost being over until the middle of May at this location. Maybe on the foothills it's a little earlier because cold air drains off. Verde Valley is definitely approaching a sort of safe zone. And so what I do this time of year is I start to look out on a 10-day forecast, and I like to get in as soon as possible if it's a crop that needs every minute. So like sweet potatoes, it takes 120 days to do it. So you need all of that time to ripen them to maturity. But a crop like corn or a crop like cucumbers or a crop like zucchini, you could have multiple succession plantings. And so my rule is I personally don't plant warm season stuff until June 1st. If it grows fast, I go from seed. If it takes a long time, I start with a transplant.
Okay, June 1st. Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
And I think people do miss the fall planting time is like spring, but a little better, less extremes. And so all those leafy greens that I talked about, things that could take some cold, peas are a good example. It's like if somebody says, oh, I should plant peas, they'll grow, they'll sprout, and it's gonna be 90 degrees. It's gonna stop freezing, it's gonna be 90 degrees within maybe even a week or two. And so for a lot of growers, that's extremes that we wouldn't normally see. But we have them here because of the dry air, the elevation, that kind of thing.
True.
Yeah.
True. Well, thank you. Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
It's a lesson that could never end, and I like to push the limits. There's season extenders. You can mulch. You could use row covers. You could use frost cloth over the top. Even people that grow tomatoes. I used to be a grower in a Flagstaff, and so if you don't start a tomato from a transplant and you don't put it in a wall of water with a cover or something, how are you going to get fruit when the growing season could be 90 days? Most of those crops take 70 or 80 days just to have fruit there. You don't want to just watch it freeze. So some of the higher elevations in the Prescott area and these areas down here towards Chino where cold air settles, our season will end in, if not late September, early October is usually the average.
Right.
And we're really thankful when we get a long October and have the whole growing season, but it's not all the time.
Right.
It's rare.
Never guaranteed. Right,
Right.
exactly. Well, and this is something that I was curious about. What is the question that people ask you most often about gardening?
That one about is it time to plant? That's a
okay.
good one.
Okay.
People want to know how to tend their soil. People want to know about nutrients. And so that's an ongoing issue. And our soils here are not healthy living. So they're healthy for a sterile high elevation desert. So we want to avoid just putting what the plant needs and then taking away when the plant needs it, then redoing it. That's a method of growing, but we like to build the soil. It's just people don't know how long it takes. And so for the average organic grower that's like, I'm going to put leaves and I'm going to put, even manures and these products, it's like the benefit comes almost in the second year.
Is that right? Okay.
As you start to build this process, we have a cover crop in of peas right now out here, and we've been doing green manures, we've been putting actual manure, we've been supplementing with nutrients, and in 6, 8 years, you're starting to get some alive soil. Like you dig down into it, you see earthworms, and you see that the soil is alive. It's starting to darken up and have some organic material in it. Other areas of the world, other areas of the country that have rainfall and have consistent leaf drop or natural either forests with deciduous forests that would have a lot of organic material, or grasslands that there's just been this cycling of nutrients for a long time. They have a lot of what the plants need already in the soil. It can be depleted if you just take. You got to supplement and put back in. So whatever you do, whatever process, it's rinse, repeat year after year, and maybe even supplementing through the growing season.
So if this is your first year, don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah, and don't get this idea that you can just like till straw into the soil and make it, oh, my soil will be healthier. It takes nutrition, it takes an active soil life to break that down into something that's usable for plants, and actually hurts in the meantime. Instead of, if you had a healthy alive soil and that stuff would just, go away and turn into humus, but not in most people's soil. It takes work.
Okay, so if you are so say you're a first time gardener, or you want to plant something this spring, what would be the easiest thing that you probably won't be disappointed by?
Well, I'm a big advocate for using native plants, using hardy plants that return every year, planting a perennial flower bed with. Sometimes there's some hybridized natives that do really well and give you more bang for the buck with flower show and display. But finding those hardy plants that will live. If you want veggie garden things, the quicker the better, because we're going from freeze to 100 degrees in most of this county, like I said, in less than a month. So tried and true things. You can't really go wrong with squashes, with
I was just gonna say
cucumbers, zucchini,
Yeah.
and that becomes knowing how much to plant for how much you could actually use or how much to give away, until you get to a point where you're like, I don't want to see Justin because he always is trying to give me zucchini. I'm one of those people that doesn't plant one plant. I plant a whole packet of seeds, and then my family, we eat it, and then we share, and then there's the bounty is almost too much. We should have multi-cropped with something else.
Well, and that leads me to another question. I know you have a garden because I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
What do you plant every year and why?
I've refined what we plant to be more of what we eat. I have a problem. I like to just grow stuff, and I do enjoy eating what I grow. I like the growing first, and then the culinary part and the seed saving and the storing and the using it is all secondary. And so, and my wife doesn't want me to assume that I'm the grower and she's the making magic happen with all this produce. So we've refined what we grow, like for instance, cantaloupe. And some of these crops, like a winter squash or a butternut squash, we love butternut squash soup. And so we plant butternut squash. We go from planting 5 plants and having 100 butternut squash going. We don't need this many. Butternut squash soup is great in the winter, not great like every day and not great every week. Maybe it's a once a month thing. So I've learned to say, how many plants would it take to get 10 butternut squashes that would make 3 to 5 meals through the winter and be like, that was awesome. But things like that, onions, garlic, that store, butternut squashes, that store open up that opportunity to grow a crop and then use it for a long period of time.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And preserving however you can preserve and use. So we grow a big patch of corn, and we eat fresh, and then we save what's left. And then we have animals. Chickens are great at eating whatever we didn't get, or if there's an ear with a caterpillar in the top, we break it off, toss it to them. So we like to, but even a chicken will look at a zucchini after a while and go, the first one you gave me was awesome. The second one you gave me, I'm not so excited about that.
Hang on just a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rich?
So here's a question that we did get in advance, and will you guys check and see if we got any questions that have come in?
Are you guys just waiting to get tomatoes? Are
Um,
you waiting to get tomatoes? Where's the tomato planting crew? Did we lose the tomato planting crew? Somebody needs to plant tomato. All those have to be planted tonight. There's 400 more to go. Do you want to do a Q&A for a second and trade me?
oh, we're just gonna trade you. Okay.
Here you go, Rich. Here's the microphone. I'm going to leave the microphone right
Cool,
here.
cool. Okay. All right. We've got Rich Peterson that's going to answer some questions for us. Here, Rich, you got to hold this.
Okay.
Yay. Hey, thanks for stepping in. Just a few questions that we wanted to ask you guys. I'm going down my list. One of the things, if you are if you're concerned about water use in this area, what are some things, some low water use plants, vegetables, flower options, and is container gardening easier on? Is it more water conscious than just putting plants in a bed or putting them in the ground, straight in the ground?
Yeah, well, vegetable plants are always going to be kind of water consumptive. Vegetable plants be a little bit water consumptive, so I don't think you have much of a choice there. But if you're landscaping, you can get drought tolerant plants, and there are publications. Even Yavapai County, the city of Prescott has a list of plants on their website that are drought tolerant to low water use plants for use in landscaping. There'll be perennials, and that's probably the best approach is go to like the city of Prescott, look for their drought tolerant plant list on their water resources page, something like that.
But when it comes to growing food, you're probably going to need to use some water.
Yeah, some take more than others, but they're all going to be irrigated. The approach that I use in my own home garden is to use drip tape, which is a technique that is low volume. It's like 20. Drip tape is rated 20 gallons per hour per 100 feet of tape. So if you have a 50-foot piece of tape, half of 100 feet, in 1 hour it would only drip 10 gallons. And you can use that scale, but they make this tape that has an engineered emitter every foot, something like that, so you can plant every foot where the drip is.
Oh, okay.
And that's a very water efficient way to go, is drip irrigation in a home garden rather than overhead sprinkling or just standing out there with a garden hose or something like that. Drip tape is probably the most efficient way to go.
Okay.
For
And
home garden.
as far as container gardening versus, planting in the ground, is there a difference?
Well, containers are always going to dry out a little quicker than in the ground.
Is that right?
They
Okay.
heat up and dry out in the wind, and the roots of your plants are absorbing the water and releasing it to the atmosphere, and so that limited volume that's in your container plant is always going to be needing to be refreshed with water more often than if you have ground where you have a bigger volume to hold your water supply
Oh,
in the
okay.
pore
Well, that's good to
spaces.
know because for some reason I thought it was the opposite. I really did. So that's good to know. Very good to know. Speaking of water, as people are getting ready to water their gardens and their flowers this summer, spring and summer, what are the best times to water?
Well, this time to water. Go the opposite. Maybe the worst time to water if you overhead water. You don't want your leaves to stay wet overnight. You might get some fungal diseases because the leaf is staying wet. Whereas if you water in the morning, the leaf will dry out. If you're overhead watering, if you're watering with drip tape, there's no overhead water, and it could be any time of the day. And maybe the approach is water when power is cheap. If you're having to pay for water, and pump water with a well, pump when the power is cheap. So it could be overnight, that type of thing.
Okay.
I like to water in the morning get it done, get the plants a fresh supply of water before the sun comes up, starts heating things up. So that's the way I do it.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I've got to get this question in before I forget. One of our Yavapai College co-workers in the Verde Valley, Bobby Evans, has this question for you, and that is, when should I plant my sapling olive tree into the ground? Right now it's in a pot, and when should I put it in the ground?
I think our general recommendation is fall planting. A tree will grow during the wintertime. It just grows very slowly, and the roots can find their way out. Whereas if you plant in the springtime, for example, it turns from cool weather to hot weather pretty quickly. And if the roots aren't established, then that tree is going to be stressed out and may not even make it, as opposed to winter conditions where you get winter rain, the temperatures are cool, so there's not a lot of stress on the plant, water stress, and so the roots will gradually find their way out, and when the temperature is right in the springtime, it'll break bud and come out of its dormancy. So I think fall planting, when the weather is cooler, not as much stress on the plant as opposed to springtime, when you can put it in the ground, but when the weather turns warm quickly, especially in this area here,
And in the
Chino
Verde
area,
Valley, and then she's in the Verde Valley, yeah.
here we have wind that dries out a plant pretty quickly, and if you're not keeping it well watered, there's just a lot of stress in that in the spring conditions transitioning into summer that could stress a plant and maybe even kill it.
Gotcha. Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, so I asked this question before we started, and you answered the question for me already. But I thought I'd share it with everyone else who maybe had the same problem. I bought a tomato plant from the plant sale last year, and it was this big, beautiful, monstrous tomato. Beautiful, healthy. Looked like the ones you have in there, but of course it was in the ground. But I only got 4 tomatoes, and it flowered and flowered and flowered, and I only got 4 tomatoes.
I heard a lot of other gardeners had the same issue in the Prescott area. It was a hot summer. My tomatoes just didn't produce very much, and it's very possible that the temperatures, especially overnight temperatures that are very warm, the number that I have in mind is like over 90 degrees. Now, it probably wasn't over 90 in Prescott, but when tomatoes are in a hot and dry summer condition, they can drop their blossoms, and of course, if it drops the blossoms, there's not going to be any tomatoes to form. So it's probably a temperature-dependent thing, just a very hot, dry summer that caused that, and hopefully we'll have more normal weather conditions and rainfall and temps this summer, that you'll have a lot more tomatoes then.
And now that I think about it, those 4 tomatoes came like in October last year.
Okay.
When it was cooler, so that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. I appreciate.
And sometimes it's variety dependent. Some heirlooms don't bear their tomatoes until late in the season, and they make lots of good, or they make some good, big, tasty tomatoes, but as opposed to a hybrid tomato that is
More prolific. Yeah.
But maybe some people say, they don't have the taste that these others do.
Oh, I gotcha.
So-
Yeah, they were really delicious. The 4 that I got, they were awesome. Okay. Well, I asked this question of Justin, but I thought I'd ask you too, Rich. I know you grow grapes. That you farm grapes, but do you, in your own vegetable garden or own garden at home, what do you plant and why?
I end up planting the same things every year in my vegetable garden. I have what's called a high tunnel, which is a season extending structure. It's sort of like a greenhouse, but there's no heating and cooling in it. But it does get warm in there, warmer in the day, so you can go farther into the fall. But I end up planting tomatoes. I can put 5 50-foot rows in my high tunnel. 1 row of tomatoes, 1 row of peppers, one row of potatoes. I have a permanent row of blackberries, raspberries that stay inside. They seem to like that environment. And a row of storage beans, like dry beans, pinto beans and cannellini beans and tiger eye beans, that type of thing. So I seem to plant the same thing every year just because it tides that extends through the winter months. Dry beans, when if you've stored them properly, will take a long time. And berries, you can put in the freezer and have those. Tomatoes, probably a whole row of tomatoes is too many, but I like growing tomatoes. And grapes, I grow grapes. I have about a 1 acre vineyard of table grapes. And they make a lot of grapes. I go to the farmer's market with them. Some of them I just give away because I like giving them to my neighbors.
I've had your grapes. They were wonderful.
Oh, good.
I can't remember when it was, but I remember having them, and I remember they were great. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let me think. I think I've gone through most of my questions, but the two questions that we didn't ask yet, that are finale questions, are tell us about the plant sale. I know everyone's excited about it. It's hugely popular, and the basics, the basic information, time, place, date, where, and then also, you might want to give people some hints about getting here early.
Okay. Well, all the spring semester, the focus of the spring horticulture class here at the college is to grow out plants for the plant sale. And you've probably already seen all of our tables full of plants, vegetable plants, tomato plants, pepper plants. We have berries, grapes, annuals, perennials, quite a few different varieties of plants. Some in 1 gallon, some in 6-packs, some in 4-inch round or square pots, that type of thing, and it's priced accordingly. And we don't overprice our materials. We have a plant sale, and the proceeds go to purchase additional equipment or plants for the next semester. But it is always the second Saturday in May, which I'm thinking is May 10th. Okay. Plant sale starts at 8 o'clock. No early birds. We have caution tape set up so we don't have any early lookers, but it's always a crowd initially. And if you like Black Friday sales, you'll really love our plant sales Black Friday crowd type thing. Because it's a lot of people coming in with their carts and wagons and boxes, buying up plants because it's a good buy. But if you come at 9 o'clock, for example, an hour later, we still don't have as many plants, but still have a lot. And it's a more relaxed environment because a lot of that early crowd has departed, and you can get in easily and walk the row. The plant sale is held right outside the greenhouses at the Chino Valley Yavapai College campus. We have a wide gravel driveway with tables lining each side. Students are at each table to give you the best of their knowledge on the varieties and how to plant and such. We also have Master Gardener volunteers, Yavapai Cooperative Extension Master Gardeners who help out with the plant sale. And usually it's starting to get kind of thin at about 11 o'clock, crowd and plants, but we usually shut it down around noontime, unless we're sold out before that. But if we're not sold out, we'll just say that's the end, is around noon on Saturday, May 10th.
Gotcha. And so, but am I right that there's people here that kind of start lining up at 6 o'clock in the morning? They bring their coffee and their donuts and start lining up. It seems like
probably more like 7.
Okay.
You'll get some people
Like
that
an hour
set out their chairs right at the front of the line, their camp chairs, and have their coffee with them. And we'll go out and we'll talk to them, make sure that they, if they're wondering what kind of plants we have, or our pricing structure, why we give them our best of our knowledge.
And speaking of pricing, cash, card, all of
Yes.
it? All of it?
Cash. We usually have a card reader so we can do credit card and check.
Okay.
So
Right.
That's about covers it.
Well, I am going to be here, and so I wanted to see if I could get Justin back over here really quick to ask him to do some promotion for his summer and fall horticulture classes. But he looks like he's pretty busy. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
I was gonna say that if anybody wants to try coming at like 9:30, that might be a good year to help alleviate the morning crowds. I think it's an idea that we still have enough stuff left, but you avoid that Black Friday.
Oh, so it's like
approach.
8. So it's like an hour and a half later, then it opens. Yeah. Okay. That he said that.
Everybody that hears
Yeah.
about it says, "I'll come early." That's when everybody comes, and that's when people say, like, "Is it safe to come?" There's so
Wow,
many
that's one of the
people.
best baskets and stuff. The
We
most
use-
beautiful
I mean, we have
flower
200.
baskets and stuff. Oh,
We have 200. So if
I
people
know, but
come,
people buy like 5 of them.
you're feeding into this panic.
I am. I am. So hey, Justin, really quick, we're gonna wrap things up, and thanks again for hosting us. But tell us, give us a spiel about your summer and fall horticulture classes. Thank you, Rich.
Sure.
And look at his
Yeah,
dirty hands.
This is what coconut core and perlite looks like in a greenhouse. So, I'm holding your microphone really oddly. So what you see tonight with this fast pace, people getting it done, solving horticulture problems on the fly, is the same thing in the summer, but we add additional outside production aspects. And so the summer, spring, fall, all of these horticulture classes, the summer is unique because it's only 2 credits and it's 8 weeks only. And so a lot of times people come to just like say, is this for me? Wonder what it's like. If you can't tell what it's like from here and see like what an amazingly awesome group of people that are here, you could be part of that.
It looks like a big team, a big family.
Yeah, yeah. And we work together to solve problems. We work together with goals in mind. So it's a pretty cool environment. And we go across age spectrum. And what people are interested in, both career, personal interest, and higher education. Agriculture is a great place to try these things out. And in education, we want to be like a holdout for not just, like there's convenience of online, and we do that as well, but we want people here. We want people to be able to do this and see if this is what they
And get their
want.
hands in the dirt like
Come
you just
get
did.
your hands
Yeah.
in the dirt like this. Yeah, make something grow. But anyways, I think the classes are great, but I might be biased.
I don't think
try
you
to
are.
I try to make them hands-on and exciting and interesting and follow people's passions while still getting some tasks done and learning about horticulture in a structured way.
Well, I was telling these guys that I have a friend at work that is trying to talk me into taking the summer horticulture class with her this summer. So, and I just might do that. I just might have to do that after coming out here. Yeah.
Registration started 2 weeks ago, and I saw there's already 12 students signed up. So we're halfway there. So come on, get in.
Better get in.
Yeah.
Better get in. And how do they do that? Where do they go? What do they need to do?
Go to yc.edu, and there's a registration page there. And specifically, if you know what you want, you can browse credit classes. If you haven't been a student before, talk to somebody in academic advising that can help you get plugged in. There's some steps and things that other people would help you with. If you're already a student, search agriculture, search horticulture, and you'll find our core classes that are there.
Okay, and same thing for the fall too.
Yeah, fall.
Okay.
And we. It seems like I'm saying, this is fun, come and take a class. We like that catch to get people interested, but we have a program of study, a certificate that leads to employment. We have a 2-year degree and associates, and maybe someday soon we'll have a career and technology education bachelor's degree that we're pushing towards.
It's on the list, right?
It is on the list.
Awesome. Okay. Justin, thank you.
Yeah,
and I'll
thank you.
let you get back to your class and all the fun work you're doing here tonight.
Okay.
And we will see you at the plant sale and maybe this summer in class.
That sounds good. I'll be here.
Okay. Thanks.